I'm Augustus, and I'm traveling the United States to listen to real Americans and to tell them about my candidacy for the President of the US in 2028. I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, where the Wasatch Range meets the Great Salt Lake and the valley stretches out under the shadow of the mountains. This is the 23rd capital of my 50+1 capitals tour. My plan seems obvious and necessary to me, but for other presidential candidates, it could be considered unnecessary and maybe even weird. The plan is to visit every capital in this country over the course of about 60 days, not to give motivational speeches, but to listen. I'm here to hear about the skyrocketing property taxes that are pricing families out of their own neighborhoods, the water rights concerns facing our ranchers, and the shrinking Great Salt Lake, and the vanishing middle class that is turning our neighbors into a generation of workers struggling to keep up with the Silicon Slopes economy. Utah is known as the beehive state, yet it feels as if that collective hard work is being sold off to the highest bidder, while the people who have lived here for decades are left behind. It is the Utahns who are doing the farming, the mining, and the building. I am standing at the Utah State Capitol. This building is a masterpiece of neoclassical architecture, a testament to the state's heritage, constructed with native Utah granite and Georgia marble. This structure was designed to be a centerpiece meant to represent the enduring strength of the people. It's a tribute to a state that has always looked toward the horizon, from the Ute, Navajo, and Shoshone nations to the pioneers who saw promise in this valley. It's easy to talk about Utah's beauty, but I'm more interested in Utah's people. If you want to represent Utah, you have to speak for the irrigation crews keeping the desert green and the snowplow drivers who keep the canyons open during a heavy winter. They outlast the elements because resilience is baked into the soil here. It's important to acknowledge that the spirit found in a Moab river guide is the same one that built this city. To be the leader of the whole country, you have to actually know the whole country. You have to breathe in the crisp air of Glacier National Park, admire the views along the Pacific Coast Highway, cross the mighty Mississippi, and visit the beautiful Smoky Mountains. You cannot lead a people you do not know, and you cannot know the people from inside a high-flying jet, a speeding motorcade, or a gilded office in D.C. Having lived in 7 states and visited all 50 states at least once before, I think I have a glimmer of understanding of who we, the people of the United States, are. But you can never stop learning. That's why I'm visiting each state again, and why I will continue to do so both during my campaign and during my time in office. Now you might be thinking, who is this guy? As I said, I'm Augustus. I was born in New York State 65 years ago. Like you, I've spent much of my life working. I've seen presidents come and go, and industries rise and fall. And I've watched as the people who keep this nation functioning, the nurses at Intermountain Health, the crews maintaining I-15, and the staff at your local Smith's, are treated like cattle or sheep, not human beings. You may be asking yourself, is he qualified? The Constitution says I am. To me, being qualified means working as hard as I can to help the most people possible. You need to decide for yourself what qualified means to you. Think about the people who meet in the Capitol or in Washington, D.C. How many of them are qualified in your eyes? How many of them are working to make your utility bills manageable or your fuel prices affordable? It seems to me that many representatives have forgotten the primary requirement of their jobs, remembering who they represent. They shouldn't represent the lobbyists, they shouldn't represent their party, and they definitely should not represent the ultra-rich. Your representatives and the President of the United States should represent you, period. I stand for the people, not for corporations that treat employees like disposable parts, not for the rich and ultra-rich who treat the law as a suggestion, and not for the special interests who think their way is the only way. I believe in a land of freedom and opportunity, not a land where out-of-state investors push families out of the towns they've called home for generations. Why consider an unaffiliated, unconventional candidate like me? Maybe because you're exhausted. You're sick of having to choose between generic candidate A and generic candidate B, neither of whom has had to decide between a grocery bill and a mortgage payment. While a vote for a candidate who isn't a member of one of the 2 major parties can be scary, isn't it scarier to have to choose between bad and worse? Choose to vote for someone who will actually work to make your lives better. Vote from compassion, not fear. The motto of Utah is industry. It's a word that speaks to the enduring nature of this place and its hardworking people. Sadly, it feels like the only thing being rewarded is the industry of the rich and ultra-rich. It's time to ensure that the prosperity of this state reaches the people working 2 jobs just to put food on the table and a roof over their heads. I'm headed to Denver, Colorado next. I have many capitals and many miles ahead of me. If you see me in your state, don't just take a picture, come over and say hello. Tell me what's keeping you up at night. Tell me what you want for your children. I'm Augustus, and I'm here to listen. I'll see you in the state where you live. Wow. I'm headed to Salt Lake City next. No, that's where I am now. I'm will eventually put up on the internet.